Three, two, one, we are live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of StoryHive on Location, Vancouver, with beats, eats, and more!
Committed.
Yes, I am your host, Kazi. We are broadcasting live right now from MOARRR Studios, out here on the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations. Big shout outs to TELUS STORYHIVE for powering today's episode, which so happens to be our final episode for season 4, Crazy Town. Show's been going on since 2023. We have been capturing the stories of creatives, artists, chefs, musicians, dancers, and I'm very excited for this next guest, who is also a fellow dancer. Her name is Olivia Boon, a Vancouver-based dancer and creative focused on Campbellocking, a funk dance born out of the Soul Train era in the 1970s. Within the Campbellocking community, she is an active event organizer, community builder, and a member of the Vancity Lo crew. For us in the street and club dance community, we may know Olivia for her marketing savvy with Ladies First YVR Jam, or her infectious energy hosting parties like Morning Disco. Aside from all these roles, she is also a tech product manager, mom to Joby the puppy, and my fellow Southeast Asian sister, Malaysia in the house. Let's go, La!
Let's go. Let's go, La!
That's it!
Let's go!
Thank you for being here.
Yes, I'm very excited. And also,
yes.
shout out to Beam, 3-year anniversary, May
That's
2023. Right. It's an honor to be here on your 3rd birthday.
We are toddler. We are gaining our legs, and we are also going to have season 5 starting in August. That's a whole other story we'll get into. But I just want to say I'm so in love with the fact that you are rocking batik today.
Yes. This is a piece by a Malaysian designer.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Hani Nazira. Check her out on Instagram, HANINAZEERA.
Ooh.
Super cool. Yeah, a lot of her designs, they're all handmade. She also makes a lot of hand-painted pieces. So shout out to Malaysian designers out there. I would love to know more. I don't know if there's a lot of Malaysian designers in Vancouver, but please send me a message if you are. I don't know anyone. I think it would be great to connect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Philippines, we also have our own style of batik, which is like a lot of this like kind of like floral
Motifs,
work
yeah.
and motifs, and also Indonesia. So it's cool that it like translated from our cultures, you know?
Yeah. No, I love it. Honestly, I think like I just wanted to bring a little piece of that here because I also know that's how we connect too through that Southeast Asian heritage. And that kind of bleeds into like art, style, music. I think that's kind of the era I'm in my creative journey, just reconnecting to where I grew up and just home.
Yes.
So this helps.
I love this for you. Yeah, I was really excited that you said yes to being our final guest for this season. I mean, we've known each other for a little while now, but the first time we did meet was actually my first ever Campbellocking class/session.
Yes!
Yes, at Robson Square.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for those who already knew me at that time, they're like, how is this your first class?
Yes.
I'm like, no, I have not properly or formally learned from anyone. And it was dope to learn at that time. But you were there with Joby, your cute puppy. And then when you told me that you were from Kuala Lumpur, I was like, girl, I have been there lots and I have friends there. And then fast forward, when you were going there, you asked me.
We met one of your friends.
Yeah, you met my friend Truth. Shout out to Truth.
Shout out to Truth.
Love
Great
you.
DJ.
I literally was just talking to him yesterday, but anyway, blah, blah, blah. And what really stood out to me about you is that you just have such a infectious and warm and welcoming energy. And like at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, low key but high key, the Lockers are the funnest group of all the street dance community.
We're very loud.
Jokers, like just, it was like, it took so long for the class to start because everyone was just like joking with each other. I was like, oh, is anything gonna happen right now? Like what's happening? So anyway, blah, blah, blah. I have now said that on record. I said that the other day to Tony and to Julian, but I was like, it's a secret. Now I've said it. It's fine.
It's real now. It's recorded, documented.
It's fine.
On TELUS STORYHIVE.
Yes, you can battle all of Vancity Lo for that. So as you know, on this show, we dive into creative journeys of each person who sits down on this seat. And I would really love to start from your very early beginnings. Like tell me more
Baby
about
days.
your international journey growing up and how your creative gifts were fostered.
Yeah, so I am from Malaysia, from Kuala Lumpur, like Kazi mentioned. But I was actually born in Jakarta. So I was born in 1995, aging myself. But I lived
Still
there
a baby.
until 1999. So my parents were working there. And when I was 4, there were these riots in Indonesia. And so they just wanted to leave and go back to Kuala Lumpur and just be able to settle myself and my brother, who my mom was pregnant with at the time, back in Malaysia. So we traveled back, and then I lived there until I was about 14, 15. So a lot of my younger years growing up there, I was really exposed to, classic Asian stuff, piano class, violin class, right? Like
I'm like, check, I did that.
yes,
Check, I did
yes.
that.
You play instruments,
Yeah.
you go to school, you do some theater, you do some drama, like you kind of figure out what you like. And I think growing up around then, I always knew that I wanted to do something more than just being stuck in that kind of stereotype of what I was allowed to do. Because I think when I was growing up there, a lot of what the mindset that I had from the way I was brought up, the schooling that I went through was very much like, again, another cliche. You be a doctor,
Right.
you be a lawyer. And anything apart from that is just known to be harder, right? But I always knew back then, I think I was exposed and I watched a lot of Disney Channel growing up. So, Hannah Montana, like someone with a regular life, just doing something else on the side and just finding so much like fulfillment from that. For some reason, when I was like 12, was really inspiring. So I think I spent a lot of time just basically trying to lean more into like music, because I did really enjoy those piano classes when I was growing up. Lean more into dance. I did they don't have a lot of dance in Malaysia that's not ballet and those type of more traditional studio dancing. So I did aerobics. That was a little bit of my exposure to it.
What's it like, aerobics? Like
yeah,
actual workout?
Yeah, kind of like Zumba-ish, those those tapes, you watch those tapes and then they would teach you like the choreography, and they would teach you like these little dances, like little Zumba moves, and that was just kind of like how I used to express it back then. And then I just know that I wanted to do more and more, because I was really exposing myself when I was growing up. Like a lot of the really popular pop artists that I was listening to at the time, like my first concert was Gwen Stefani, and I was like,
gosh,
something about this music and something about this atmosphere just makes me feel so happy. So I found a lot of solace in like the music, in connection to that, in connection to like how that related to me at the time when I was growing up. And then I actually left Malaysia. I went to the UK when I was 15.
That's right.
I went to boarding school for 2.5 years there.
Which part of the UK again?
It's in a small town, but the broader region is Surrey.
Okay.
So
not
40,
our Surrey.
not a different Surrey. 40 minutes out of London.
Yeah.
And it was my first time, like, I'm 15, my parents are not here, I'm locked in the house with other 15-year-olds because we're all just people in boarding school.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like a lot of that freedom and a lot of that creativity came out. There was dance there, so I started doing like some classes there, just trying to explore more, like creating even like drawing, illustration, just trying to pour into an outlet of some kind. All that to say, I think when in my time in boarding school, growing up in Malaysia, some form of art has always been my escape from school, I don't know, traditional demands of like what you think you could be growing up. You move to the UK, homesickness, right? So a lot of things that I consumed, things that I like really found solace in was music. It was like TV shows, like So You Think You Can Dance, being exposed to that, just knowing that there's like creative outlets out there. And it really, really wasn't until I moved to Canada. I lived in Toronto in 2016 that I actually committed to start dancing.
Okay.
Because I was kind of like, maybe I like to sing. Maybe I like to play the piano. Maybe I just like music. Maybe I like drawing, everything. But in 2016, I think dance kind of became the primary form for me. I was living there for a year. I was doing an internship. Won't name the employer, but I did not have a great time. So I just really needed something to do because I was there for a year. It was also the first proper time I was like working a full-time job. I had access to like, now I have my own paycheck. What do I want to do? I literally spent like from opening to closing at a studio called Underground Dance in Toronto.
Yes.
And I would just take any class that was available to me. So just anything, but really like hip hop, dance hall, jazz, contempt, like whatever I could do, I just didn't want to leave. And then from there, I actually just started branching out more and more and more, and then just utilizing that journey to find within dance what speaks to me. So yeah, that's my journey in a nutshell. Hid behind art, listened to music, loved a lot of TV shows that had to do with dance and art and music. And then came to a point where I was old enough to be able to explore what that really meant for myself without the confines of like being a teenager in school or being a child at home. And dance was really the outlet that I poured into. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, what do you feel was that? Like, what was it, I guess in the midst of escape, right? Like, what was it filling for you?
I think the ability to be myself, I think, was a really big one. Because growing up too, like I'm an older sister. I think when you're kind of like the eldest daughter, there's a lot of like these expectations on you, unspoken responsibilities culturally as well. And then I think just kind of moving through life with that, a lot of this art for me was a form of the ability to just be who I am. I think that's really why I resonate so much now that I found like street dance. I started doing street dance in 2022 here in Vancouver. I got into it because of Julian, my partner at the time. No, my partner at the time, he had a knee surgery. So he was really rehabbing, and locking and Campbellocking became like a really big space for him to be able to do that. And through that, I also found how much that freestyle, that freedom, and the story of like how all these street dances came to be, especially the story of like Don Campbell, who created the style Campbellocking. It's all about that, like the freedom to express who you are, being yourself, and just knowing that no matter what you bring to the table, it's embraced.
Yes.
It took me, I don't want to say embarrassingly long to really learn that. But yeah, it wasn't until my later 20s that I really started finding my identity within dance and the art. I'm still finding it, but I think that's really how that ended up where I ended up today.
For anyone who might not know about Don, could you share a little bit about Campbellocking and Don, and what he means to you and to the locking community, Campbellocking community?
Yeah. So the story of Don Campbell, I learned a lot through, there's just been so many, I think, people we've connected across the world, just classes we've taken, but primarily from a lady named Tash. She's based out of Montreal. I think she's one of our Canadian OGs.
Tash.
Yeah. And also a lot through, again, my partner, Julian, who's very dedicated and has done so much like research and learning about this. So I also want to give them shout outs for a lot of the resources that I've listened to and have had. But Don Campbell, he was the creator of Campbellocking. Essentially, his story back then was he was learning how to dance, right? He was an introvert, and a lot of what he wanted to do was to meet people. And his friends would tell him, hey, if you want to meet people, you need to go out, go to parties, like learn how to dance, right? Do that. And through that journey, he really, he was just trying to do a little bit of the robot shuffle, just grooving a little. And then he would be trying to remember what came next, and then he would just stop. And at the time, a lot of the dances back then were dances that just kind of kept going and going and going, right? Like you think of like this type of
Right.
move.
And
like
at the
they
time,
would
we're
just do
talking
it.
like 70s era.
Yeah. Yeah. They would just continuously do it. So to have someone just really like pause and take that space at the time was so revolutionary to the point where like people were like, what is that? What is that lock you're doing? So since then, I think he really was able to just dance like himself. And I think a lot of the beauty of that dance with Campbellocking, a lot of the mannerisms that you do are mannerisms that are so conversational, and they're mannerisms that are also very relatable to the general public, right? So you have pointing where you're literally like pointing at people. You have like wrist roll or like a twirl as if you were like playing with a hat, for example. And I think these types of movements just make it so accessible and conversational as well, that you can find your voice in that style. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. And that's also a little bit about, I think, why I resonate so much with that story.
And so can you tell me the exact moment where you remember witnessing Campbellocking or being taught it and you're like, it hit you different from all the other kinds of like styles and dance cultures you were learning at that time?
I definitely haven't learned all styles. I think where I'm at in my journey, I do want to explore more, because I think there's so much value and so much, all these street dance styles, they tie together. They have a very deep-rooted history. And if you learn a style and if you learn where it comes from, then you kind of learn the journey of dance and music through like the 70s until today, right? And again, I learned so much from other people, because a lot of this information that I have is also just things that people who love this dance, who love this music, who love this art so much, just are willing to pass down and share if you just stay curious. But the exact moment I remember, I want to say the first memory I have of it was at this battle that Loxim, like Leia Loxim, had in 2022, November.
Yes.
It was called Get Lucky.
Okay.
It was just like, it was my first battle ever. It was a jam that was held at the Korean Cultural Center. So it was like literally just a cultural center, a battle, some lights, and there was a live band.
Sick.
I remember when I went into that prelim, I already was like, it's my first battle, like whatever. I'm nervous, probably not gonna pass, just gonna do the thing. But I realized from that battle, when I was talking to people, because it's very obvious when you're nervous in freestyle, you can't really hide, because there's a lot of just body mannerisms that just kind of show like, oh, you're nervous. A lot of like advice and people who kind of came up to me at the time really were able to say like, hey, there's no expectation of this dance of you, right? Like battling is a part of the culture and a part of what we participate in. But there's so much beauty to it that comes, and like the outcome, I suppose, of just like passing, making it through is not the only thing that you should be thinking about, right? The fact that you're here and you're showing up and you're doing this is really what we're all here trying to embrace. And I remember that being the turning point for me, because it's someone coming from the choreography space a lot. I think there's always this idea where you have to feel like you know the choreo and the moves, and you have to be polished to a certain extent, because it's really easy if you're dancing in a group and everyone's doing the same choreography to be like, oh, I messed up. Like I can see I look different.
Right.
And then to come into a jam where everyone's telling you being different is cool. Just do your thing. Right? There's no expectation. It's your first one. You'll grow, you'll figure it out, you'll learn. And that's what really like keeps me, I think, in wanting to share that with other people too. Because even since 2022, when that formative moment happened for me, there's been so many people who've come into the community since, where I've been able to kind of also share that back to them. So I think that has been another formative moment for me, where it's just kind of like, somebody gave that wisdom to me, and kind of like circle of life almost, like now I can share that with other people. I think it's just really nice, and it just really develops your relationship as people together, because in a setting like a battle, you just understand that no matter how many times you've done it, you're always thinking about something, right? And you just want to embrace it, be yourself. Yeah, that was my formative moment.
I could totally understand that, because you're coming from and transitioning from one world where the mentality is like exactly as you said, uniformity, looking the same, and wanting to be one. Like, honestly, this is where I came to turn around to really like appreciate and respect like K-pop. I wasn't really into K-pop, and then what's the group? Oh my gosh, Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye. I watched that Netflix behind the scenes documentary of the bill, and because there's like a Filipina in there, I'm like, I'm definitely gonna watch this. But anyways, to see them be so uniform, but at the same time, part of that uniformity was to also be an individual. I understood it, you know. I'm going on a tangent, but
No, yeah,
from
for sure.
from going from that mentality to then being in a space where everyone is encouraging you to be original and fully express yourself, and like be okay to make mistakes, and be okay with like, yeah, you might look awkward and weird for your first time, but like this is a point of being able to grow from this moment. You know, I can totally understand in your perspective having that. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like almost like a breath of fresh air, or like a release in a way, you know?
Yeah, it's a mental shift, and don't get me wrong, like choreography I think is still a very important skill to have.
Absolutely.
Like especially if you want to be a working artist, a working dancer, it's just a good skill to have. But the mentality shift I think is really different, and then just tying it back to just kind of like growing up, hiding behind the music, all that stuff. I did feel like when I was going through my choreography journey, which is ever going, a lot of it was like hiding behind the moves almost. Because I remember when I started doing street dance and just being more embedded in the freestyle community here in 2022, I felt like a baby. Like I didn't know how to dance, even though I was like, wait, I've been dancing since 2016.
Yeah.
Why do I not know?
Like a little Bambi.
Yeah, and then you kind of just realize so much of it is just like mental. You have to break out of that mindset. You have to embrace like, yeah, like you said, like being able to make mistakes, trusting who you are, trusting that you have a voice, and trusting that that can come out in your freestyle, and the voice you're trying to use to speak through your dance is something that like actually offers a unique perspective. It's an ongoing mindset shift for me, but I think that's why I love it so much, and that's why I think so many people around us love it so much as well. You just get to see who they are from their dance.
Dang, that's wisdom right there.
It's
beyond just dance, but any art form or anything
For
that
sure.
you might be doing. Like I think life is a mental game, right? I want to ask you a different question.
Yeah.
I want to know more about Vancity Lo crew, and how did this crew come to form? You know, because y'all show up at the battles, matchy props, bags, stuffed animals, basketballs. I'm like, what is this, a catalog? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it is rooted in, so there's a little bit of history in the Ralph Lauren brand in hip hop culture as well. So there's a really good documentary about it called Horsepower on YouTube.
I gotta watch this.
Horsepower by Complex magazine. And it talks a little bit about the history of the Ralph Lauren brand to the communities. So I'm not the most well-versed to speak on this, but I will summarize as best as I can.
Yes.
So back then, I believe a lot of the communities, especially in not the Bronx, but I think in Harlem, around,
in New York,
there was a lot of the Ralph Lauren did this thing where essentially people were shoplifting
Yeah.
his clothes, and a lot
Yeah.
of what they were taking was colorful stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? And essentially, instead of saying, "Hey, stop shoplifting," he actually looked at that and kind of went, "Wow, this is what the people want. I'm gonna make more of it." So a lot of like the styles that like came out of that era, it was a lot of like really colorful items as a result of that kind of movement that he chose to do. So you think about like United Colors of Benetton, right? Like if you think about like what everyone wears to the battles, it's like color blocking. Like if you looked at the style at that time, it was very much like that. So I think it was a really, really big kind of moment. Especially because the community there as well, like there's a huge, huge community in New York. They're just called the Low Lives. And it's still ongoing till today, where there's a lot of pioneers who just really carried over that culture and that legacy of the time and the fashion and the style. And it's like a huge brand there.
Yeah.
So look them up, LOLYFES, Low Lives. And they're just low heads. Like they literally just, they have fashion shows, they cast models. It's like a whole culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was linked to the African American and the Black communities, right? And I think that's really how that kind of story spoke to, specifically, I think to like a lot of us, because you just kind of learn how much it is deeply rooted, like fashion and style is so deeply rooted in the dance as well, right? Because so much of what we do, so much of the history of hip hop came from the same place. And that's why the fashion kind of oozes into that as well. So I think what we're trying to do is really just be able to represent that, to be able to live, understand, and really respect those values, and to be able to really showcase that with a Vancouver kind of flair to it. So yeah, it's
So wait, how did the crew form then?
Oh, the crew.
Vancity Lo
we
specifically.
started in 2024 November. We were in Calgary. This is why we call AJ Lee our leader. Shout out to AJ if you're watching.
Shout outs to AJ.
She wanted to essentially do a crew battle.
Yeah.
It was in One for the City, an Edmonton battle, and the battle was up to 10 people per crew.
Whoa, that's huge.
So initially she was just like, "Hey, who wants to battle?" We were like, "Sure, we're down." And then after a while, we just started adding more and more and more and more people.
Yeah.
So we had a full 10.
Oh my God. That's hectic. How long were these battles?
Yeah. And it's actually pretty funny because that's where Vancity Lo was formed. And we lost to Katria, who's sitting right here. So she has seen, shout out to Katria. She saw the inception of Vancity Lo. And already from the jump, we had we had the blankets, the everything.
So you mean to say that you already had the fashion, you already had the outfits, you realized like, hey, we all have Ralph Lauren right now. And then you formed your own Vancity Lo lives, essentially.
Basically.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You still didn't answer my question though. How long were these battles?
The battles?
You know, like long rounds? Like
6 minutes?
7 minutes?
7 minutes. Essentially they just put like a 10-minute timer, ran down the clock.
Okay.
Go when you want, and I think there was like a maximum of like 5 or 6 minutes per side.
That's so fun though. 10 people.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was actually awesome. It was my first crew battle ever. So to do it with 10 people was pretty hilarious. Would do it again. Shout out One for the City, Edmonton. June 26, 27, 28.
This year?
We won't be there this year, but go.
I love that. Speaking of jams, I want to talk about the most recent one that happened last month that you were a big part of. You know, big shout outs to Ladies First YVR. And this jam has deep history with Vancouver Street Dance Festival. It always operated prior to the festival, essentially being its last one and moving on and composting to new things. But like prior to that happening, it would function as a fundraiser for the festival. That's how Ladies First began. And I'm so happy to see that even though the festival is no longer, that this jam continued. And I want to also give a big shout outs to Caroline Loki, to Clarence, to the whole VSDA crew for organizing this. I would love to hear more about from you. What was that like to be part of something that, you know, really amplifies women in street dance and is this platform for putting a shine on who we are in the community?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I think it's with an event like Ladies First, the mission is so strong and the mission is so clear. I think as well within the Vancouver community, because we're all so close. Like I think the community is quite small, where for the most part, you know, someone from each community. I think it was like really meaningful to kind of hear a lot of the reception after the first one that came back in 2025. Yes, it's 2026. So 2025 last year. A lot of the reception was really positive, and I think a lot of people from all of these communities were kind of coming up and saying, we need this, like this is an underrepresented voice. This is a space for us to just like be free without judgment and to be able to just really show up as ourselves. Because I think in terms of like dance in general, just a lot of it can be quite male dominated sometimes. And also just through like history of the world, I suppose, with patriarchy.
Yeah. I love how you're like
know.
patriarchy. Wait a second.
So I think it was just, yeah, it was just really meaningful. I feel like we were really able to create a really cool space to also open up the exposure of street dance to the general public. I think VSDA has like all the organization, like all that stuff just like on lock, just because they're so experienced. They've been doing it for so long.
More than a decade.
So coming in to kind of join the Ladies First team at a later stage, I was really able to like learn so much from them as well. And because of their expertise, a lot of the organization side, I was very, very blessed and grateful to not even have to think so much about it. I was really able to focus on like the mission of it and just kind of creating that space for our community. So yeah, totally shout out to Loki, to Clarence. They've kind of been like my mentors throughout that as well. And it's just so amazing. I think it's an event that from 2025 to 2026 also just really proved how much it was able to grow and how much there was an appetite for this and the number of people who really wanted to support women in our scene here. And also shout outs to so many other Ladies First across North America and Asia too. There's so many ladies only jams that have been popping up, so many that have been ongoing. It's been really cool because through this kind of experience that we've had sharing Ladies First Vancouver on Instagram, we've had a lot of these other Ladies First jams also reach out, and we've been in communication with them to just really see what the future could look like together, right?
Maybe weave them all together.
Yeah, so not only is it meaningful for like the local women, I think in our street dance scene, it's also so meaningful because you really do feel like you can provide a platform for them to shine, and other people worldwide are resonating with that as well. So yeah,
that's really cool.
Please come in 2027.
Yeah, that's even crazy to just hear the word 2027 right now.
And shout out again to Katria, who won the 2026.
That's right.
Ladies First.
You know what I
YVR.
also think is interesting about the fact that like the term ladies first is actually quite a what's the term? It's rooted in chivalry, right? Like, oh no, ladies first. I don't know why there's an accent there, but that is chivalry exemplified, okay? But it's like a reclaim of this like chivalrous act of like, no, ladies take up space, like we first. Like, here's your face and here we go. You know? Seriously, and I actually just thought about that just now. I was like, and it was so evident in the actual event. It was dope to see a lot of the men and boys in our street dance community. Shout outs to all of you who came, who bought a ticket, who screamed and yelled and just cheered for everyone, who danced. And like, didn't make it creepy, didn't make it like objectified, but was actually just supporting us and supporting y'all, you know? I think that's super important and I heard from feedback from the men who had attended that they're like, there's an energy that's different about here than a lot of the other jams.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It just feels so much more positive and fun and just like an infectious energy, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm super happy to hear that. I think it's all an organizing team can really ask for, right? That the mission shows and that what we're trying to create and put out there is something that people really resonate with as well. So it's really awesome. Yeah, I think a really huge thing that we try to do as well when we're organizing is to really maintain like some kind of a party feel, some kind of like just a celebration of women.
That's what it was.
A celebration of women in street dance, but also celebrating the women of street dance in our Vancouver community, because we do have actually so many here who've just really created the scene and built the foundation of what it is today, right?
That's so true. We have so many dope female leaders in the community, whether it's Natasha Gori, it's Momo, it's Ghana, it's you, like there's Katria again, like, yes.
No, yeah, it's super cool because even in like in the locking community, we Kim Sato is part of it too. And something that's like super inspiring about someone like her is she used to have a program called Soldiers, which ran for several years here in Vancouver.
Soldiers spelled SOUL, like soldiers.
And what she created there birthed so many dancers who are still dancing today.
Rena, Sharon, Sean, Kim, for sure.
So I think it's just like really cool because you just kind of see like at some point everyone learned and everyone was inspired by and just taught by her, right? And that's also like quite a testament to be like, that is so powerful to see how that lineage until this day still is sharing and giving back to the community. So I think that's very beautiful, and I feel like that's also a big reason why I think the mission of the event just kind of speaks volumes.
This is so on theme with how I've been feeling this week. Because Morning Disco, which is a party that you have hosted and emceed and party rocked, I have now finally crossed that threshold and done it. Took me a year and a half because I've been booked and busy, but I finally got to do it. And, you know, on this topic of experiencing lineage and multi-generational and multicultural litness, as I like to say, it's heartwarming. And in that party itself as well, you see that like from the music side of things, where it was like DJ Flip Out and his family, but then also who he inspired, which were a lot of our younger DJs who are on the come up now, you know, or seeing like Christiane and Atelele like in the front dancing and having the best time. And they also like came up in parties with Flip Out. And so there's something special about this time where I think that like, you know, the culture has existed now for 50 years if we're talking about like hip hop as an umbrella, but that exists laterally with all these like other music and dance cultures that we celebrate and we participate in. But like now there's an actual clear lineage you can see, you know, and everything's like coexisting together and celebrating under one roof. It's a really beautiful time.
Yeah. No, Morning Disco, I think like is a really has been such an awesome event. It happens monthly, which is like a really awesome space just for people to go. They really champion dancing. So as a dancer, if you go there, you know you get time to dance. You're not just like with your drink in the corner.
No, you're learning a line dance.
Yes.
You are doing more than a two-step. You are going down a Soul Train line, you know.
Yeah, no, and shout out to T-Boy. He used to live in Vancouver.
He's coming
back in
we don't know yet.
TBD.
Sometime this year. I know this.
Maybe if I say August, he has to come back in August. But
we said it on the show.
August,
you're coming back.
It's recorded. TELUS Storyhive. T-Boy and to Nina,
Yeah.
they really kind of, T-Boy created morning disco back in his hometown in Bratislava.
Well,
Really just
actually,
kind
he
of-
inherited the party.
Oh, he inherited it
from
okay.
someone else and has continued to carry the
Yes.
torch.
And then
Yes.
I think the fact that it's carried over now to Vancouver,
Mhm.
where Nina is just kind of like really putting it all together, that's just super cool.
Yeah.
I think it's like super dope to go to
Yeah.
a place and you're like, wow, this is awesome. More people need to experience
Yes.
this. And then you make it happen.
And it happens not 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. It's the reverse. It's 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. with your coffee. Option to have something else in that coffee, breakfast, and your family. Like
Yes.
we're dancing with children and we're celebrating 50-year-olds' birthdays. Like it's the intergenerational multicultural jam monthly. You should come.
Yes, check it out at Morning Disco Official.
She knows. I'd love to know, as someone with an international perspective from having lived and traveled to so many other places in the world, where do you think Vancouver sits within arts and culture in the global context right now? What do you think we're doing well? What do you think we have? In what ways do you think we have still yet to grow based on what you've experienced elsewhere?
Yeah, no, I think Vancouver for me is always the place where I've learned how to find myself. So I think it always has that special place in my heart. But since I started just being more in the street dance community in 2022, I've been very fortunate enough to be able to travel, whether it's like to Montreal for Jack of All Trades, that's Jote Festival, to Toronto for a jam like Crystallize, which is a Campbellocking and whacking jam put on by funky facilitators, Ice Misto, who was just a guest on the show.
Yes, shout out.
So one for the city in Edmonton, also different events like across Southeast Asia. I think with Vancouver, what we have that's so special that I always have to remind myself not to take for granted is our community, for the most part, is quite tightly knit. I remember when we were having a session in Manila and just talking to some people who were there, and some of them commuted 4 hours one way to be there, right? Manila traffic's one thing.
Yeah.
But like 4 hours one way, 4 hours back, that's like driving to Kelowna like every 2
Yeah,
days.
that's past Seattle, fam. That's crazy.
Yeah, and we're talking like just constantly, right? And it just kind of put it into perspective for me, like, wow, I'm so grateful that we have a space like Robson Square where it's really just a community area where no matter what you do, maybe you're there for rehearsal, maybe you're there to practice, maybe you're having a bad day, you just want to freestyle, maybe you're there for session, right? It's a space that embraces you, and it's a space where you see a lot of familiar faces and familiarity, and you feel safe. It's very hard to actually feel like I'm an artist and I feel safe in a public space where people are walking through and everybody's watching me. But for some reason, we have that magical place there, and a mutual kind of understanding that that's where we all just go to grow our craft and to share with others. That to me in Vancouver is very, very something that I have to remind myself not to take for granted very often. So I think kind of like what I love about that is the tight-knitness and the access that we have to something so centralized. I think what we could grow in, I feel like I would always just encourage people to travel, seek knowledge, right? Like there's a lot of styles that we're doing in street dance where the history and the culture isn't rooted in Vancouver. So you won't really get the full perspective until you go broader and you seek it out from pioneers, from OGs. And again, something to be thankful about is a lot of them in some of the more recent like kind of street dances, whether it's like hip hop and things like that, the OGs are still alive. And it's just really cool to be able to just kind of listen to their stories and take their class, hear what they have to say. So I think that's something that in Vancouver we just don't have because a lot of the dances weren't born here. So traveling and seeking that, I think, will really enrich individual street dancers who are committed to their craft and just trying to grow.
that whole trip that people do, whether it's like going down to California or going down to New York to learn from the pioneers and the OGs, that's what I call like paying the pilgrimage. And that, or like the other context of doing that is like if you are an immigrant or you were second generation born here and you go back to your motherland, that pilgrimage as well. It's like you come back, you're not the same because you've now understood like the context of everything that like you've been exposed to, whether it from like my Filipino culture, it's gonna be like the food, the mannerisms, why my parents say certain things, to then going there and having this like ancestral decolonial pilgrimage journey and just being like, whoa. And it's in the same way relating to like, you know, if you've been learning about listening to hip hop music and studying hip hop dances, to then go to New York and feel the streets and feel the pulse of the city and hear the music out loud, like, or go to the clubs. It's you you come back different.
I think that's like a really big thing for me too that I realized, because when I started doing like Campbellocking, it was around 2022. It was after the passing of Don Campbell, the creator, and so I never got to learn from him. I never got to meet him. I never got to speak to him, and I think that's always going to be a void that we won't be able to fill. And that's why I think it's important to ask questions, stay curious, to with other people who have learned from him, other people who have learned from other OGs, right? And what was that like? And yeah, so I encourage, I think, for everyone here who's really interested, especially like newer generation street dancers, to seek that out. Don't be shy to reach out, to travel, to really like learn where a lot of this comes from. And don't take it for granted that you have the opportunity to do that. Yeah, and then I'll throw another shout out in here because why not? We're doing shout outs.
Yeah, always, all day, every day.
I think June 13, 14, 15 is Battle Zone. One of the judges coming here is Buddha Stretch. Kim Sato, who I mentioned before, an OG in the Vancouver community, is also one of the judges. And so they'll also be offering workshops. It's a really great place because someone in our community is willing to bring OGs out to be able to teach and share this knowledge. So I would highly encourage, you know, if you really resonate with this message and you feel like you want to seek that knowledge, it's coming here as well. So we should be thankful that people also want to bring that to us and also not take that for granted.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to know, what are you learning right now about being a community builder?
I'm learning I'm learning a lot of things.
Yes. It doesn't stop, by the way.
I will say, in my journey.
Yeah.
I think a big one for me in my personal journey as well is just learning how to, you know, if we're doing therapy time here, not take things too personally. I think when you're kind of existing as an individual contributor anywhere versus being a team player or a community member, there's so much, I think, of that compromise and the push and pull that kind of happens. With decisions you make, with things you do, with relationships you have and friendships you build. So I'm really learning how to see things kind of in the bigger picture. Because I still feel like in this community, I'm fairly new. I'm still trying to figure out what is it I want to do? How do I want to build that? How do I want to contribute to kind of growing it bigger and bigger? And a lot of it is just the ability to see myself not as like but just as a part of something larger.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on mentality wise. I think in terms of like physical things, just being able to also just talk to more people, kind of get a pulse of like, where's everyone at? Like if we're speaking about like, you know, the locking community, like what are people hoping for? Like, are you wanting battles, jams, workshops? Like I think as someone who likes the event management side of things, it's always just nice to get a pulse on like, where's everyone at in their growth journey? What do you think would be beneficial if we were to do in Vancouver, right? Because here we have a lot of battles, which is great. I think it's like awesome exposure and just like good experience for dancers. But just being able to ask those questions where it's like, are battles serving you right now? Like maybe you just want to have a party. Like maybe we just want to have fun, you know, go to morning disco, have a drink at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Party it up. Sometimes that's what you need, right?
Yeah.
Maybe people are feeling like they want to have a workshop, they want to learn from someone, right? And then with ladies, like something like Ladies First, last year, we were able to bring out really cool judges. We had Tatiana from New York. She really shared so much of like house dance from like the culture where she came from and just her knowledge and all of her history. This year for our judging panel, we also brought like Lady C. She's been all around the globe. And she offered so much to her community, and that really inspired people. Because you can kind of tell, like they take workshops and all of a sudden you're like, wow, session this week has 20 people and last week there was less people. Like there's like a new wave of inspiration. So just being able to be a good community member and just talking to people, knowing what people need, knowing what they would like to see here in Vancouver, and then just being able to use resources, connections, just things like that to make that happen.
Yes.
So I'm working on doing that more.
I love that. I love that you are wanting to create things that people really need and that they desire to have in our community. And it sounds very much so like potentially the influence of Boris. If not,
We love Boris.
We love Boris. This is somebody who does this well and has taught me this personally.
Yes.
Whenever it comes to, you know, Boris either inviting me to be part of one of the jams or events he's organizing, you know, he always brings it back to like him asking and thinking about what does the community need? What does Vancouver need? And like those choices of curation of who to invite and how to organize the event, it's rooted in that, in like growing our community, which is such a beautiful intention, you know? It's yes, we're individuals in this, but we're also part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. We should just have a Boris shout out section. Shout out Boris.
Boris
Is an incredible guy.
He really is.
So follow him.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing Instagram shout outs as always.
You're-
Boris on Insta.
You are the one who's doing all the shout outs.
Marketing, baby.
Yes, that's right. And you know everyone's IG handles. I'm literally
Got it
dead.
unlocked, you know?
That's so funny. Well, aside from dance, like personally, creatively, in what ways do you want to grow this year?
Yeah, I'm really looking to expand, I think, my knowledge of street dance in general.
I said aside from dance.
Sorry. It's linked to it. It's linked to it.
Go.
Because I think like dance is such a big part of like the culture of street dance, but it's not the only part, right? I think as like event hosts, I think learning what makes a good host, learning what makes you a good party starter, facilitator, even saying MC, I think is like something that's very important to me to try to learn how to develop and seek that knowledge. I think being able to also learn more about different music and like how the journey of music just kind of shaped the dance that we do today as well. Because even though I do a style that's dance to a lot of traditional, more like 70s music, James Brown, like that era, funk. A lot of what I listen to on a day-to-day isn't that, right? So being able to explore more music and what that means to me and how that kind of shapes my art and my dance as well is something that I want to look more into. What does that mean? I don't know. Early stages, baby stages. But yeah, I think diving more into that like party facilitation, hosting, and also diving more into like street dance culture outside of just the physical dance itself. I think will really just help me round out a lot of my experience and just give me more to share back.
I love that.
So that's where I'm at.
I love that. So many music documentaries I can refer to you because a lot of my research studies, my passion has been music and dance and how those cultures are symbiotic and inform each other, you know, and in many ways they've formed communities that feel more separate. And my personal work and journey is how do we bring this back, you know?
Yeah.
I also love that you were talking about wanting to learn more about party facilitation and emceeing because I always think about that stuff.
Well, it's a
And-
whole nother beats, eats,
I
and
know.
more.
And we have already said, anyone just putting it out there, you want to put together me and Olivia on the mic, just saying, it's a really good idea.
Yes, we will yell at you.
No, I will not
In a
yell.
fun way.
I will not yell. I will not
We
yell.
will speak at you in a fun way.
We'll hype you up.
We're
That's
fine,
the
I
job,
promise.
okay? The job is to hype everybody up. But yes, no, it's actually, we'll have another side conversation on this, but I think a lot about dance floor dynamics and the relationship between the MC and how to empower people
For sure.
and move the room, you know? Okay. Wow. This hour has gone by. Dance, 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 dance. So much about dance. Now we're going into rapid fire fun.
Okay, let's do it.
You ready? Okay, take a deep breath. Okay, don't overthink.
Okay.
First thing that comes to your mind. If you need to expand a little on the answer, we can do that. But just yes, don't overthink. Ready? One artist, living or past, that you love to makan with,
Oh,
which means to eat.
Gwen Stefani.
Oh.
For some reason, that was my first concert, like I mentioned. For
Yes.
some reason, I'm also revisiting her music,
Oh, I love that.
like today. So it's a fresh journey. So I think it would be really cool.
Which era of Gwen Stefani are you diving into?
Not No Doubt yet. More
Yeah.
of the era of like, because the concert that I went to was Sweet Escape.
Okay.
So a lot of
yes.
like that.
Yeah, that era.
It's sounds that I'm revisiting in my brain. It's very nostalgic.
I love
So
that.
her
Yes.
right now.
She would be so awesome to sit down and
yes.
eat with.
Yes.
Badass woman. When home in KL, go to Malay street food.
So cliche. Nasi lemak is so
Okay.
good. It's what I
Yes.
take everyone to eat when
Yeah.
we're there. Yeah, there's like an awesome place near, like in my neighborhood called Village Park. It's like world famous nasi lemak.
What is it
Like-
for people who don't know?
It's like coconut rice. You got like chicken doused in curry. There's sambal. There's cucumber. There's nuts. It's a medley of flavors.
I'm hungry now.
The best. And
Yes.
it's no shade to any Malaysian restaurants. I haven't tried anything that's remotely similar here. So that's always my go-to because there's just something about the spices there that just tie it all together.
Nasi lemak. I'm hungry. I
Yes.
want roti canai right now.
There you go. That too.
Yes. When here in Vancity, go-to meal after a dance session or battle.
You have to ask. Hara Harry. Nelson Street. Shout out to the gang. We're doing shout outs.
Yes.
Tomo, Kai, the best.
She went into shout outs, but she didn't answer the question. I said the meal. What's
Oh,
the
sorry,
meal?
sorry. Chicken karage,
Oh,
Brussels sprouts,
yum. Yeah.
rice,
Yes. A mega.
and a mega. We're allowed
A mega
to say
Sapporo.
mega
That's
here.
what it is. When building your outfit, you start first with
Layers. I think like usually for some reason there's a jacket that I just want to wear that day.
so you start with the
and
jacket.
it really builds the vibe. Yeah.
Mm,
Denim jacket's kind of different. Arc'teryx, shout out.
mm.
My employer. Gorpcore is different, right? The vibe's like different each time. So that's where I kind of start. And that's why summer is just kind of like, guess I'm wearing a t-shirt. Kind of throws me for a loop a little bit.
I love that. I also tend to build around a jacket, but it depends on what season.
Yeah.
Like if it is going to be fall, spring, it'll be that. Favorite thing about Joby, your puppy?
He's really nice. He's really warm.
Oh,
Like
true.
it's kind of just like hugging a heated pillow like all the time. So that's my favorite thing about him. And also when I work from home, I spend a lot of time with him. So he's kind of my therapist also.
yes.
So shout out Joby.
Favorite thing about Julie and your other puppy?
Oh, this isn't even rapid fire. I have so much to say. This is the most dedicated person I've ever met in like my last 18 lifetimes. So passionate about everything he does, so dedicated to knowing everything fully, and also just working so tirelessly to build up other people who are also passionate about the same thing. So much of the reason why like I feel free to explore as an artist and break out of like a lot of my personal confines of my brain is also because of him. So also my therapist, I guess.
Aw.
So yeah, don't give me only 30 seconds for this. It's a much
Aw,
longer conversation.
Julian. That's so sweet. Song you've had on repeat lately?
Oh my gosh, so many. I've been really loving Sade. So old school Sade.
Sade or Sade?
Oh, did I say it wrong? I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
That.
It's okay.
By Your Side. Great
Aw,
song.
Great song. A teaching or a quote from a mentor that you'll never forget.
I guess this is like, again, I think going back to like locking and that journey, something that it always comes up, which is like what Dawn used to say is, nobody can beat you at being you. So I'm trying to embrace that every day. I think I live many lives when I go to work, when I'm a daughter with my family, when I'm a friend, when I'm a community member. And it's just nice to just remember to embrace who I am in every setting and not have to like, you know, put on a face for it. So yeah.
I love that. No one can beat you at being you. A female dancer in our community who's on the come up that everyone should look out for.
Oh, there's so many.
Just name one. You're like, everyone should look out for.
Okay. Shout outs again. She has been around, but I think Quiet Loud is like super dope. She shows up and
Quiet Loud
kills it, right?
Quiet
like,
Loud.
And
in the name.
That's just what it is. So watch her, appreciate that movement because it's crazy. The patience, the control. Yeah.
And the
so good. Just just amazing.
I love it. Fave DJ right now in Vancity.
So many as well. I think Rita is awesome. We hired her at the last two Ladies First, which is great. We also have Ladies First DJ Club, who we also hired, so AJ and Emma. And also, of course, Flip Out. I think like on Sunday, it really showed how much of a party vibe like he really brought. And Nina. I know I shouted like a billion of them, but I think it's just super cool because they're so active in our community that you get to listen to what they have to play and what they have to say like all the time. So all of them.
Love it. Okay, I got a few more here. An unexplored creative pursuit, something you've always wanted to do or learn, just haven't yet.
I never do this, but cooking I think is quite creative.
Yes. You mean you never cook?
I do, but like simple, right?
Yeah.
It's never like I'm gonna take my time.
Okay, like what's a dish?
Like
what's
so
a dish
nice.
that you would like as a goal to be able to make?
Oh, I don't know. I want to say like it sounds so simple, but like even like sushi, because I think there's an art to it, and it's like you need to make the rice a certain way, you need to roll a certain way, you need to like have the fish at like a certain cut a certain way. I don't know. It's just like there's so much to it, and I eat it all the time. I think it would just be really nice to learn how to make it properly at home, and why you know, a lot of like chefs are so dedicated to their craft of making sushi.
Yes.
So that's my answer.
Invite me over. When
Yes.
that happens.
Only when it's perfected, not when it's in the early stage.
That is true. I don't want to get sick. A dance community outside of Vancity that you really love or admire?
I think, wow, there's a lot, but I'll try to keep it concise. I also do want to shout out like the Malaysian lockers. I'm always shouting out.
Yeah.
This is the whole reason. It's just to like amplify the platform as well.
Yeah.
The Malaysian locking community is so small, but everyone there is traveling around to represent the country in Southeast Asia.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just really, really cool because I experienced it blending like just growing up there, not having dance as an outlet, and then going there and having this as an outlet is just like amazing. So shout out to all of you guys. This is just the shout out section, not the rapid fire section.
One thing people would be surprised to know about you?
I feel like I'm very open with my life.
Like a secret talent or skill?
You know what? Since we're being so personal here, I love to play video games. I love to play Fortnite.
Know that about you.
Add me. I can drive the bus. We can shoot together on Fortnite.
That's so funny. I literally did not know that, and
Yeah, now you do.
now I do.
I'm mediocre at it, so I won't be the worst squad member.
Okay, my last one. Finish this sentence. I feel most powerful when.
I feel most powerful when I am free of my limiting beliefs of myself. I think that's a big thing I'm working on now. Just, doing more events, putting yourself out there. I think the nature of it is you're just letting yourself be perceived all the time.
This is true.
Whether as a dancer, as an artist, as an organizer, like whatever you do, there's always that courage and that step you have to take to be like, I'm gonna do this, right? I'm putting this out into the world. And I feel so much power in that. But see, this is why I love Ladies First. Sometimes I think like I do feel a little bit of that like hesitation and just feeling like maybe I should take a step back. Maybe I should just
The
like
imposter syndrome.
a lot of
Yeah,
that. And when I'm free of that and when I'm surrounded by the right people and when I'm driven by like the mission of like the things I'm doing, I do find that I am able to put that to the side a lot more. So yeah, I'm most powerful when I feel free, and that's really enabled by the people around me and just the belief and the purpose of what we're trying to do.
Yes. And also your own self-determination.
Yes, willpower.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been such a good conversation as I knew it was gonna be. You were a bit nervous. You're like, I've never done a podcast before, but
Yeah,
we made it on the
we
other
did,
side.
we did.
You shared so much of your experiences, your perspective, and what's lighting you up right now. And I'm very, very appreciative of your time, of you being able to spend, passing down what you've learned onto also the next generation and whoever else is listening. I want to give a big shout outs to everyone who's tuned into the live stream, everyone who's watching the replay after. We really appreciate you. If anyone out there is a musician, a dancer, an artist, or a creative based here in Vancity, and you would like the opportunity for perhaps season 5 to sit down in the seat and have a conversation with me, or also maybe one of our other guest interviewers, please scan the QR code you'll see on the edited version of this video and fill out the form. And who knows, this could be you eating snacks, hanging out, giving all the shout outs.
Yes, we love shout outs. What a way to cap off season 4.
Yes, but not without you giving the final shout out of your own Instagram handle /and/or website /and/or other internet presences.
Follow. There's so many. Ladies First YVR.
You
have
know you.
Olivia Boon.
Thank you.
Boon.
Yes.
Locking in Vancity. KV Muse. Jamin Cameron. Kazimi Houdini.
Kazimi _Houdini.
See you on Instagram. Vancity Beam.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. We're going to end this live stream now. I think I've said everything I needed to say. Oh yes, shout outs to TELUS STORYHIVE for powering today's episode. I am your host, Kazi. This is Olivia Boon. Shout outs to Jamin Cameron on the live stream, to Katria, aka Muse, who's given all the energy and support and hilarious facial expressions I see behind the light. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been StoryHive on Location Vancouver with Beats, Eats, and more.